David, there could be a crazy fight for getting Dan Mullen to be an offensive coordinator between a couple of schools. I don't want to get too far ahead, but had a little birdie tell me if you're an Oklahoma fan, don't be surprised if you've seen Dan Mullen roaming the sidelines as the offensive coordinator. But you heard there may be another girl at the party.
There could be some interest in Michigan as well as the offensive coordinator, which honestly, both of these surprised me because I still think Dan Mullen could get a head coaching job if he really wanted one. So I'm not sure why he would just settle into an offensive coordinator role.
Well, I wonder because I think if he could, and again, the year's not done yet. We see Tom Herman get fired from FAU, Stan Drayton got fired from Temple. There's going to be more people that are let go. But do you think maybe this is something where Mullen doesn't want to take a group of 5 job or a lower level Power 4 job? He wants to go be a mercenary hire as an offensive coordinator for 1 year at one of these huge brands that struggled on offense, go in there, blow it out of the water, and then launch himself into the best position possible to maybe go get a big job here as opposed to, because don't you think he would have taken one by now?
I don't know because I don't know him personally, and we've seen these guys before. John Gruden, we talked about the other day, he loved television so much. He turned down multiple NFL jobs before finally he got called back to the game. Some of these guys love TV. It looks like he's having a lot of fun. And I think he's having a lot of fun, too, saying, hey, haha, Florida, you shouldn't have fired me, right? We had kind of a good thing going. When you talk about a lower-level Power 4 job, I still think Dan Mullen, these programs get desperate enough that I think there's a job out there or there's a job that will open up at the end of the year that he could take with the advent of the transfer portal and NIL money that he could. Why couldn't he do what Rhett Lashley's doing this year, with SMU? I mean, if you believe in your coaching ability enough, I think there's a job like that does exist, but maybe he just doesn't want to be the head guy. Maybe it's, and I don't know what Bobby Petrino's line of thinking is right now. He's in a different circumstance, but some of these guys might just like being the offensive coordinator and, hey, when my play calling duties are done, I don't have to be the head coach. I don't know.
I mean, look at Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly's a better example.
I think Chip Kelly's a great example of that. Now I know they're kind of different eras of where they were from a coaching standpoint. We're going to get into Chip Kelly and this Ohio State offense here soon. But Blaine, you look at Dana Holgorsen, right, going to be the OC at Nebraska. When you look at Dan Mullen, if you were an AD of a higher level Power 4, or let's just say Power 4 in general, would you be willing to take a flyer on Dan Mullen?
For sure.
I know FAU would. I know Temple would.
It's funny you bring up Bobby Petrino. I wouldn't be surprised if Dan Mullen's walking to Fayetteville, Arkansas at the end of this year.
As the offensive coordinator?
As the head coach.
As the head coach?
As the head coach.
So,
I think the Sam Pittman era is over at Arkansas. I think Arkansas fans know that as well. I think Dan Mullen would be a great fit.
He would be a solid hire for them. So are you automatically assuming that they wouldn't hire from within then, either coordinator?
No. Well, see, this is where I just wonder, and we talked about this earlier when Bobby Petrino got the OC job there. Like, if you're willing to hire him as the offensive coordinator, how are you not willing to hire him as the head coach? Like, I think there's a better chance if Dan Mullen ends up at Arkansas, it's because Bobby Petrino took another job, maybe outside of it, and then, Travis Williams, we'll see what happens with him, and maybe Dan Mullen becomes the OC at Arkansas, or possibly could be the head coach. But I don't think it's a Bobby Petrino, it has no chance to be the head coach, therefore, because there's no way I think Bobby P would stay if they elevated Dan Mullen to be the head coach.
Because he'd call the plays.
Because he'd call the plays.
But not only would he call the plays, but I don't think he'd work for him.
I still know how bad Bobby Petrino wants to recruit. He's an older guy.
Wouldn't it be a better case to be the head coach?
I actually think it would
delegate. I don't know. You guys
like Brian Kelly a little bit.
Do you have to recruit more as the head coach or a coordinator?
Well, and that's what separated Nick Saban. Nick Saban recruited as a head coach like he did as an assistant coach. But when it comes down to you want to be as involved as you possibly can. Some guys want to be as involved as humanly possible. Some head coaches want to be kept in the loop on everything. Typically, your head coach is your closer. Is the guy that you bring in on that last in-home visit, or when you take the kid on the official visit at the place, you go in there and the head coach's door last, he hits the button, the door shuts and all this. Very rarely is your head coach your hardest recruiter, and I think that is something that separated Nick Saban. I think that's something that separates Kirby Smart. Some of these guys are willing to put in that time because they understand the importance of it. Other guys think, listen, like Gus Malzahn, not the most socially adept person when it comes down to recruiting. Not that he's a bad recruiter, but he would much rather have had Carnell Williams and these other guys out there recruiting and then, hey, let me bring you to the big man. So Bobby Petrino, if he could be the head coach, say, I want this quarterback in this class, hit me up when you need to hit me up. Obviously, we're going to evaluate. It'll go through the channels. I've got to sign off on the offers, but I think it just depends on, the way you look at it. So I think it's easier to recruit, or it's less time-consuming to recruit in the head coach position as opposed to a coordinator, assistant coach, whatever. But again, it really just does depend on the person. So but I want to know if Arkansas fans, like, would you be okay with Bobby Petrino being the head coach? If you're an Arkansas fan in the chat, if you're an Arkansas fan in the comments, A, do you want Sam Pittman to stay? And then B, would you be fine with Bobby Petrino?
Which, if you could be the head coach at Arkansas, I don't think you'd be the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma or Michigan unless you just want to be a coordinator and not the head coach.
I agree. And we're going to see what happens with, Neil Brown at West Virginia. There's going to be some movement in this offseason. There always is. Last year, there wasn't a ton. I mean, you look at the SEC this year, I think we could possibly get more. Guys, we're getting close to the college football playoff, YouTube. If you're not subscribed yet, you need to wake up and start making some real decisions in your life that can help you move forward. And by hitting that subscribe button, that's a great step towards excellence.